everyone, TinaGale here. Today I have another sketch from Nuts About Sketches. So this is the sketch for the week of December 21st, and I've made some notes. I'm going to use a journal block for one of my photos. I'm going to do a little bit different effect in the background and some of the supplies that I wanted to use. And so these are my photos. And on the sketch it has a circle up here, a circle down here, and then just smaller circles. And I found this large star cut out in my stash, so I decided it would be kind of fun to put in the background. So I'm going to do it instead of the small circles. And then I have a title cut with my silhouette. This is the free file from my Scraps and More, the December file for the 12 Days of Christmas challenge that she gave away. The "and" I cut from my silhouette. And then I just have some random embellishments. I have some little silver charms, and I actually have a star picked out. I think that's the one I'm going to use. And then I have some brads here that I might use just for a pop of color to bring in the red from my son's outfit. Or I have these poinsettias. Not sure where those came from. I think Hobby Lobby. These are a retired product from close to my heart. Then I have some twine that has, it's a two-tone, it's white and then a cashmere kind of color with a silver running through it. So I'm going to use that. I have some embroidery floss and kind of a gold color I'm thinking of stitching around the star. The gold sequins that I've been using, and some gold polka dot washi tape. All of that's from close to my heart. My corner chomper, and I think that's about it. Some paper. The paper is from Bo Bunny, and it's fairly old. It's from about 2010, but the photos are from 1990, so I think I'm good. So let's get started. So the first thing that I'm going to do is corner round all of the photos, just like the sketch suggests, and I'm using my We Are Memory Keepers corner chomper. If you don't have one, this is one of my favorite tools. It will cut through just about anything. It's really worth the investment, and it has a 1/4 inch and a 1/2 inch rounder, depending on which side that you use it on. So it's really two tools in one. Okay, so now I'm going to adhere the star, and you'll notice I'm not putting adhesive around the outside edge because I want to go and sew around it, so I don't want to be sewing through adhesive. So I just put my foam mat underneath there, and I have my piercing tool, and I'm just going to poke holes about 1/8 of an inch or so, just like a regular sewing stitch length. Okay, so I've taken my piercer tool and I've just punched holes all the way around the star, and I thought I would show you how I sew. I've had some questions about stitching on the layouts. So if you want a little bit of information from someone that really can't sew, listen for the next minute or two, and if you're not interested, then just fast forward through this part. So I usually use embroidery floss, and if you have trouble with it tangling, one of the tips is if you'll pull out a strand at a time. So there are 6 strands in embroidery floss. So if you'll just grab a hold of one and pull it out, and then pull another one out and put those 2 back together, or however many you're working with. Normally I work with either 2 or 3 depending on how much that I want the thread to show up. So I have 2 strands now, and I just put them back together. And by doing that, when you're going in and out of the page, it keeps the thread from twisting up and knotting up so bad. Normally it takes care of it all together. I don't have too many problems, but I'm thinking since I told you that and I'm going to stitch online, it will probably mess up. And then I just use a regular sewing needle. This one has as big as an eye as I can have to get embroidery floss through, because like I said, sometimes I like 3, and small enough that it's not going to leave a large hole in my paper. And possibly a needle threader. Okay. And I work with a fairly long thread compared to some people. So I always start from the back. It doesn't really matter where you start. but I do kind of like a back stitch, what I think they call a back stitch. So I'm going up and then down, and I'm just going to leave a small tail on the back, and I kind of weave it in the best that I can. But afterwards I will just take a piece of washi tape and stick over that to keep it going. So then I'm going to skip to the next hole, and I'm going to come up in it. Okay, so I have one stitch and then a gap, and that's where I come up, and then I'm going to go down where I went down last time. Hopefully that makes sense. And now I'm going to come up one stitch away, you can see that. So I have a stitch, and then I'm out here, and I'm going to go back down in that stitch. So I just do that all the way around the star, in case you were wondering how to hand stitch on layouts. So I finished stitching all the way around, and now I'm just taking some washi tape and putting over the backs of where the thread started and ended. Even though I weave it in with the other stitches, I like to do this just to make sure that none of the stitching comes out. And I also use the washi tape whenever I put brads or anything like that that could be sharp on the back. I cover it with washi tape to help keep it from causing damage to other layouts that might be behind it or in front of it. So now I'm just laying everything out, trying to figure out where I'm going to adhere the embellishments in the photos. I used the twine that I showed you to tie the star charm, and I'm just going to tie it through the ampersand with a little bow. I just put it through the center of it and then flipped it over and tied a bow. Pretty simple. And the ampersand I just glued straight down, but the rest of the title, the Merry and Bright, I'm going to use pop dots, and I just trim them down really small, and I cut away from a lot of that because it took a long time to put all the little pop dots around. This is a gold ink. It's really, really pretty, but it is a pigment ink, so it takes a really long time to dry. But I went ahead and brushed a little bit around on the title and around all of the photos. Normally, if you're doing this with pigment inks, you want to let it dry for quite a while. You don't want to keep working, but I just kept working. And thankfully, I didn't smear any of it across the front of the photos. I did get a little bit on the back of the layout, but it looked fine. It just added a little bit more to the layout, just like a distressing or something, so I was fine with it. But it does add a lot. It's just you want to be careful with the pigment inks. Now this is the gold polka dot washi tape from Close to My Heart, and I'm just going to put it up underneath the photo. I've adhered that center photo so that I would kind of know how high up that I wanted it. And originally I kind of slanted the photos. I thought it was that way on the sketch, but I'm not sure that it was. But I have a really hard time not lining things up. I'm very linear, so I like things straight. So I ended up going back and kind of moving it. Now the top photos, they're kind of angled, and I'm okay with the two photos like that. I like that, but most photos I can't just put on an angle. And then I had a 4x6, or well, actually it was a 3x4 journal card from a Project Life kit. And I just cut that down for my journaling. It has some little gold polka dots, and so it matched well with the washi tape and the other gold that I put on. And you'll see I just had a paper towel and was trying to wipe off my fingers because every time I touched the stuff I got gold because it was still wet. Okay, so like I said a minute ago, I adhered the ampersand straight onto the page, but the Merry and Bright I pop up on pop dots just for some added interest, and then I could kind of overlap the title. These photos are photos from my son's first Christmas, so like I said in the intro, these pictures are from 1990. I don't scrap chronologically, and I'm okay with that, and I actually enjoy it because then I can go back and kind of remember what it was like to have our very first Christmas with, a family and, our first baby. And this will be the first Christmas that I won't have my baby home with us. So it was kind of fun to scrap these. As far as the embellishments go, I just have those gold sequins, and I just put those around the three kind of embellishment spots that I had picked. Again, I'm using my liquid glass to adhere the stars because they're really thin, so it would be hard to get a tape runner on there, and I want to make sure that they stay stuck and don't move. And then I just put one of my acrylic blocks from my stamping on top of it until it kind of dries. And I went ahead and I picked out 3 of the brads that I showed, and I put one in each little embellishment cluster. It really helped because on this layout, normally I probably would have put red in the background paper since my son is dressed in red. He has his little Mickey Christmas outfit on. But I didn't. I stuck with the green. Everything's kind of tone on tone and really soft. And I liked that because then he really popped up off the pages, and he was the center of the attention on this page since he was the only thing in red. But by having those brads, it really helped put it together. So here's some still shots of the finished layouts. I hope you enjoy them. All of the information and product links will be down below on YouTube, or you can see them on my blog at tiggerscrapplace.blogspot.com. Thanks for watching.